Galactic Security Academy, Advanced Threat Recognition Course. Sir, the young Oxian recruit raised a tentacle, her bioluminescent spots pulsing with curiosity. Why does our manual have an entire chapter dedicated to just 3 human words? Chief Instructor Fowl felt his scales ripple involuntarily. 15 cycles of distinguished service in galactic security, and he still couldn't hear those words without flinching. He looked out at the classroom of fresh recruits, so young, so innocent, so unaware of what chaos lurked in those simple syllables. "Watch this," he managed to keep his voice steady. "Mostly. That's a story worth telling. Gather round, recruits, let me tell you about the Proxima Centauri Diplomatic Summit." His secondary heart fluttered as the memories surfaced. 15 cycles earlier. "The security arrangements are flawless," I announced proudly to Ambassador Crix, all 4 of my arms gesturing at the elaborate display of anti-grav platforms floating in perfect geometric formation. Each platform is quantum-locked, balanced to within a picometer's tolerance. The aerial signing ceremony will be completely safe. The ambassador's cybernetic eye whirred as it scanned the arrangement. "Impressive, Officer Fowl. And you're certain the humans can't interfere?" I understood his concern. Humanity had only joined the Galactic Council 2 cycles ago, but they'd already developed quite a reputation. Still, I was young, confident, and had triple-checked every safety protocol. "Sir, these platforms are secured by the most advanced AI systems in the galaxy. Nothing can alter their pre-programmed positions without command-level alpha clearance." "Which," I added with professional pride, "only you and I possess." That's when I heard it, a sound that would haunt my nightmares for cycles to come. A low whistle of appreciation from behind us. John Isaacs, Earth's deputy ambassador, was studying the platforms with an expression I would soon learn to fear. His species called it a grin. To me, it looked like a predator baring its teeth. "Quantum-locked, you said." He walked around the formation, hands clasped behind his back. "Too casual, much too casual." "And they can only be moved with alpha clearance?" "Correct," I said firmly. "They're completely secure." "Uh-huh." He tilted his head. "But they're not actually locked down, just secured in position, right?" Something in his tone made my scales tingle. "The distinction is irrelevant. The AI systems, and this whole formation," he continued, still circling, still too casual, "it's designed to represent unity and balance among species, yeah?" "Ah, indeed," Ambassador Crick said proudly. "The geometric progression symbolizes—" "But you've got the Draco platform next to the Solarian one." We both stared at him. "The Dracos evolved in a methane atmosphere," Isaacs continued. "Solarians breathe superheated plasma. In about—" he checked his primitive wrist chronometer. 17 minutes when the ceremony starts, and they both activate their environmental fields." My blood went cold. How had we missed the field interaction? Should probably fix that," Isaac said cheerfully. Then he got that look. That terrible, wonderful, chaos-heralding look. "Lux, sir," I started to say. "I'll submit an urgent revision request through proper channels." "Hey, Fow," Isaacs grinned, shrugging off his formal jacket. "Watch this." Ambassador Cripps, being a more experienced diplomat, was already running. I really should have followed him. Galactic Security Academy, present day. "But sir," another recruit interrupted. "What happened next?" Fow absently rubbed his chest where his secondary heart still occasionally fluttered at the memory. "What happened next?" "Chaos. Pure chaos." 15 cycles earlier. Time seemed to slow as Isaacs approached the quantum-locked platforms. My security training kicked in. I had exactly 7 different ways to stop him. I employed none of them. Instead, I stood there paralyzed as he reached the master control panel. "The thing about quantum locks," he said conversationally while his fingers flew across the interface, "is that they're really good at maintaining position in space. Sir, Please step away from. But they're not so great at maintaining position relative to each other, he continued, pulling a small device from his pocket. My third heart nearly stopped. It was a basic gravitational calculator, the kind children use for physics homework. Sir, that's not a certified Did you know, he said, punching numbers into the calculator, that I failed advanced physics twice in college? But I got really, really good at calculating trajectories while bartending. It's all about the angles. That's when the distinguished delegates began arriving. 47 species, each wearing their finest ceremonial attire, each expecting a dignified ceremony. What they got instead was John Isaacs, Earth's deputy ambassador, balanced on the main control platform like a surfer on an ancient wave. A surfer who was about to reset the carefully calibrated positions of 47 quantum-locked anti-grav platforms. Basic physics, he announced to no one in particular, like a giant game of pool. Then he slammed his hand down on the master release. The next 30 seconds are still a blur in my memory. I remember screaming, some of it might have been mine. I remember Isaacs riding the main platform like some deranged space cowboy, using its momentum to nudge others into new positions. I remember him calculating angles on that children's calculator while simultaneously keeping his balance on a wildly moving platform and shouting geometry at the top of his lungs. The Draco and Solarian platforms ended up at opposite ends of the formation. Somehow he'd managed to rearrange the entire symbolic pattern into a new configuration that still maintained all the required diplomatic symbolism while preventing any environmental field interaction. When the platforms finally locked into their new positions, Isaacs dismounted with a small bow. The silence that followed was deafening. Then the Draco ambassador started laughing. It sounded like rocks in a metal grinder, but it was definitely laughter. The Solarian ambassador's plasma field flickered, in what we later learned was their species' equivalent of applause. The ceremony proceeded without a single environmental incident. The official report, Foe told his wide-eyed students, listed it as unconventional emergency diplomatic reorganization. Unofficial reports called it everything from a crime against physics to the most elegant solution in modern diplomacy. He pulled a holomidge from his desk drawer. In it, 47 anti-grav platforms formed a perfect pattern, different from the original but somehow more harmonious. At the center, a grinning human stood next to a much younger, slightly shell-shocked version of himself. 17 new regulations were created that day, Fow continued. 43 formal complaints were filed, and 112 commendations were issued, including 3 for creative problem-solving in a diplomatic crisis and 1 for outstanding application of recreational physics. But, sir, the Arxian recruit's spots pulsed with confusion. Why keep the image if it was so traumatic? Foal's scales rippled with what might have been pride. Because sometimes, recruit, madness works. The incident sparked a complete review of our safety protocols. We discovered 14 other potential environmental field interactions that could have caused disasters. And humanity, he shook his head. Humanity proved they could spot problems we'd missed and solve them in ways we'd never imagined. He carefully returned the Holo V to his drawer. That's why the manual devotes an entire chapter to those 3 words, because when a human says, "Watch this," they're about to do something either brilliant or catastrophic, usually both, and your job isn't to stop them. It's not? No, Fowl sighed. Your job is to calculate their probable trajectory, clear the area, and make sure the safety nets are ready. Because they're going to do it anyway, and sometimes, just sometimes, their insanity is exactly what we need. He straightened his uniform. Now, let's review the emergency protocols for when humans say, "I have an idea." Security Chief's personal log, addendum. They gave him a medal. A medal. And now 3 different species have requested human diplomatic advisors for their fresh perspective on problem solving. May the void help us all. End log. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave it a like and to subscribe if you'd like to see more. Feel free to comment and share it as well. With all that said, go on and check out the video in the top left. I think you might like it.